Welcome to my newest DIY bird feeder made with recycled materials and stuff you can find around the house. Now I pulled this jar out of the recycling and I thought, this could be part of a nice bird feeder. And what was in it before? Butter chicken sauce. And the other thing I pulled out was this Coke Zero bottle. When you're choosing your bottles or jars, it's just about picking things that are similar size. Now just for some parts and tools, and originally for my prototype I used these screws. The other thing from Dollarama that I had were some galvanized steel, so again that shouldn't rust too quickly. Very small gauge, so easy to work with. Hot glue gun, tin snips, and the tin snips aren't absolutely required. You can use scissors, or what I used quite a bit was this utility knife. Some drill bits and obviously a drill, some pliers to cut the wire. Then I just went about taking off the label just to clean a few things up. Not necessary, but I took off this little black part of the cap and cut the bottle about 1/3 from the top. I just put in the lid to mark off where I'm going to cut. In this case you can use the scissors, but the tin snips really just make the job a little bit easier. Drill a pilot hole, and then I have a step drill, and again this isn't necessary, but again it just makes it easier to cut things out. The tin snips are required for this part. I like them better because it will make easy work of that lid and it doesn't leave too many sharp edges. And then next gluing the lid and the bottle together. I really reinforce it with the hot glue. I think what would work even better is some epoxy, but the hot glue is just a little bit quicker and easier to work with. Next is to measure up the bottom piece for where the seeds will sit. You don't want this much of a gap. You do want it a little closer to the bottom, which allow the seeds to come out, but not too much. Next we got to cut an opening for the birds. I use the utility knife and then follow up. Again, you could use scissors, but I use the tin snips for a nice cut around. Big enough for the birds to get their heads in. And then test fit it. You want to make sure there's enough gap at the bottom for the seeds to go through, but not too high as to overflow on the cutouts. Then you guessed it, hot glue to put it all together. Almost done. Now with this little bump out on the bottom, I use that to secure the wire for the hanger. I take the galvanized wire, give it some nice twists, cut off the excess, and then take the other end into a gap, move it to the opposite end, and then again twist it off at the desired length. So that's the handle. Pretty easy to put on. And then finally just drilling out some drainage holes at the bottom. And the last step is to get something for the birds to perch on to feed. I've used this in the past and it seems to be quite durable for outdoor use. I just cut it to length, find out a place I can mount it on the bottom, hot glue it into place. I use some wire to secure the chopstick a little bit more because as the summer goes on, the hot glue might have a bit of issue holding on. And that's it, finally complete. But I'm pretty proud of this particular bird feeder. It seems quite sturdy. It should be easy to fill up and do some maintenance if required. For example, if the hanger rusts out and I need to replace it, no problem. Any issues with the cap or the bottom end, I can also fix it. I did make a prototype of another version, but it seemed a little bit too complicated, so I scrapped that one. Now I love making something out of nothing, and especially out of some stuff that I find around the house and in the recycling bin. Now of course make it your own. I made another version with the epoxy that I was talking about before, and that should be a little bit more durable than the hot glue, but surprisingly enough, with my other bird feeders, the hot glue has worked really well over the seasons. Anyway, this is just to spark some ideas, make it your own, but most importantly, have fun. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you in the next Ladybug adventure.